When I make character sheets for D&D archetypes, I make the assumption the race is human. This means no racial bonuses or features from subclasses, nor do I give the wealth of a noble or the streetwise expertise of a vagabond. Such personalization is up to you. The Druid PL 11. Your motive is probably guarding some park, and your complication is that you're prejudiced against the unnatural. Undead, golems, robots, and artificial life forms are characters you treat as second-class citizens or even outright enemies. Working peacefully with Shadow the Hedgehog is a will check. You also have limited spell slots. Stats. You're always out camping. You're not as tough as the Barbarian by any stretch of the imagination, but you're no pushover either. They're fairly smart, but focus more on Fortitude than anything. As to your spells, I stuck with what I found on the Druid page for D&D Beyond, and I really think that gives you a well-rounded character. Cure Wounds is healing, limited to natural beings. We discussed what that means already. Call Lightning. You need indirect to make sure it comes from the sky and not from your butt. And I took multi-attack too, no real reason, just seems right. Timeless Body, you don't age. Land Stride, you go through plants. It's interesting to note the final boss for the astonishing adventure Green Thumb Black Heart had that too, though I didn't get the chance to use it. Nature's Ward, you are not sick, poisoned, or seduced. And Wild Shape, you can turn into animals you've seen before. I tacked on flying, or speed, or swimming on the off chance you want to be a bird or fish. You'll certainly want to refine that for your own druid, and if your druid can become a Pokemon, do take variable. I'd be all for a druid who can decide he's a Sceptile at any given time. On a side note, if your druid doesn't hate the idea of the unnatural, just sees them as lesser beings like animals, you might consider the idea of your druid becoming one of those characters too. Catch everybody off guard. No surprise you're a spellcaster, you're more in tune with nature than any other class. I assume you're self-taught in the medical field, and religion is listed as a proficiency too, so why not? Might even be appropriate if you're employed by a deity. Animal empathy. Your best friend is probably a chimpanzee and you get together every Thursday to pick ticks off each other. Equipment. Just because civilization isn't your home doesn't mean you can't shop there. Besides, you're supposed to come with starting gear. You can do stuff with herbs, namely treatment. If you want to do the same thing one of my players are doing, replace the treatment skill with an herbalism expertise, and take inventor with the understanding it does not apply to technology, but your herbalism skill. I'd write that as a 1-point feature myself, same amount of points to get the same thing, and your second language is Druidic. You can talk to other druids even if you don't share any other language. I did not incorporate Nature Sanctuary into this build. I think the closest we can get to this is to give yourself the status benefit, but it's supposed to ensure that there is a large chance that plants and animals regard you as a non-threat. I don't feel that perfectly captures what the goal was, though. Game Masters, you may have some trouble getting your druid players involved in a quote-unquote normal game of Mutants and Masterminds, as your typical astonishing adventure takes place in a city environment. I propose you use your druid's god to send him on a mission against an oil company that's been less than eco-friendly, and it turned out to be a front for Cerebrus Rex's new Warp Gate project. By that time, perhaps your druid will bond with the other player characters enough to have enough investment in civilization to stop such a plan.